Good Monday morning, friends. We're back again. It's May the 15th. It's Fightful Overbooked. I am at Joel Pearl. As always, I've got Mr. Newsman here, the man who never stops, much like MLW's world. It's Jeremy. I've made way too many MLW cracks in the last 24 hours. I cannot stop now. How you doing, Jeremy?
Oh, I'm good. I wish I had MLW schedule of just like once a month, maybe twice a month, do everything that day, and then it all airs 8 months down the line. That'd be great. That'd be great if I could just do everything in one weekend and then 8 months it comes out and I only had to work once a month. It'd be fantastic. I'd love it. I'm well. My pussy is wet and I'm here. That's a callback to Friday's show, everybody. And I'm here for this beautiful Monday.
We'll get in the weeds as we always do. We got a lot to talk about. Mike Skyros is going to join us at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Right now it's 10:03. For those who don't know Mike Skyros, maybe you know our pal Kate, who hosts a plethora of shows here on Fightful, both Overbooked and the main channel. Skyros and Kate are not pals, but I told Mike Skyros, I said, hey, why don't you come and talk about our best friend Kate? And he was like, let's do it. Let's do that. So we're going to do that. And Ryan Lambert jumps us with a super chat saying, justice for Sky Blue. You know what you did, Joel. Last night, Jeremy, Kate and I were on our show and we were talking about the CM Punk return. And Kate was like, oh, how do you get people to boo Chicago's own CM Punk in Chicago as his return? And I said, well, you have him come out and he jumps Sky Blue, because the first Chicagoan I could think of was Sky Blue. I didn't want to do Colt Cabana. That's too obvious. So I said,
why?
I don't know, because she's Chicagoan. She's a young, hot upstart in the company. And that's just the way you do it, right? And so the chat kind of got on my ass about that.
They should. This is a terrible idea. Absolutely a terrible idea. I'd have him bury the Blackhawks. I'd have him call Patrick Kane a coward for wanting to go to New York, and then I'd have him laugh at Patrick Kane for not being able to get out of the first round despite, wanting to go there. That was the play. That was the destination he had to go. He forced the Blackhawks' hand to go there, and then he couldn't get out of the first round, and the Blackhawks got a terrible return for that. I'd have him just completely bury the Blackhawks, honestly. That they would hate that. I have him bury the Bulls, who also can't get out of the first round ever. Burying sports teams works. Yeah, bury the Cubs, the Bears. They have two teams. The Bears had the number 1 overall pick. The Blackhawks, then they traded it. The Blackhawks have the number 1 overall pick. Their town is so shitty that they get the first pick in all of these drafts. And then he should act like he is the savior to all this. Like this town is nothing without me. Who is relevant in this town if I'm not around? Make himself be the savior and be essentially a martyr. And it works because there's the double entendre of AEW. The ratings are down without me. I mean, they get this business deal ain't going through without me. This second show ain't happening without me. See, there's layers, the layers to this.
I said this on the other show. No, but I said this on the other show. Because AEW is full of a lot of people who like read ratings reports and live by these numbers, they're going to see Collision at like 700,000 and a 0.15 in the demo. And this isn't me shitting on. This is stuff that has been talked about by Brandon Thurston, who was on the show, last week. He's positive that like a Sunday Collision show, that's kind of what you expect in ratings. And people might not understand that for a Saturday evening show. It's not going to perform the same way a Dynamite would. So if he's going to say, oh, I am the savior of the ratings, I bring the numbers, and then the numbers are less than AEW Dynamite, then it's kind of hard to play that role unless you become that heel who's just so delusional that he skates by it.
Punk is so smart. They're gonna pop a number for the first show, right?
100%.
And then and then he's gonna be off that show the next week. He's gonna be on Dynamite the following week, And he's gonna take that pop number and be like, this is what we did the first show. I wasn't on it the second week. Look at this dramatic drop off. This is gonna come back the third week, and it's gonna be boosted from the second week. Like, look how the numbers rose when I'm here. Here's the dumb thing about ratings, by the way, is one, yeah, most people arguing about ratings don't actually understand. And I'm not proclaiming that I have this big understanding when it comes to ratings. By the way, I pay attention to it. I pay attention to the numbers. I don't always pay attention to what it means in the context of things of like, oh, okay, well, what would a rerun of Big Bang Theory do in this spot? And is that cheaper for TBS to run in this spot? Is that cheaper for TNT? I don't get into all of that. I leave that to an expert like Brandon Thurston and even Dave is very good when it comes to the ratings and understanding and breaking that stuff down. Here's the dumb thing about arguing about it, like all these people like to argue about it, is they put so much into, oh, they loaded this card and couldn't do over 800,000. Oh, they dropped off 100,000 this week, when they don't pay attention to the competition when they should, of like, okay, well, what was the basketball game for this? And the other dumb thing about it is everyone wants to proclaim these shows and the company dead because like the ratings drop by like 20,000, the viewership drop by 20,000. It's like, this company is about to sign, reportedly, predictedly, $1 billion TV deal. They're about to add a second show to this. I think they're doing okay. I think that they're 800,000 or whatever it might be. It's not the end of the world for this. You got people like these old heads talking who were, relevant, 15 years ago during the Monday Night War of like, we were doing 3 million at the time. We were doing 4 million. It's a different world. It's a different landscape. And just because AEW is doing 800,000 don't mean it's a dying company, clearly, because they just signed, or they're about to on Wednesday, are about to sign this big TV deal that gives them an extra 2 hours of content, possibly a streaming deal with Max. Now, does the pressure go on them from here to deliver and be consistent and everything? Yes, because I will say this. Rampage was supposed to be this big thing of like, oh, extra hour of TV, here we go, great. And it was very good for the first however long, for the initial really few months. It kind of took the downturn when Punk started, going off and everything. Really the injuries, Moxley was out in rehab, getting himself clean and good. Omega was out. Like, that's when it started to take toward the downturn because everybody was in there for Dynamite. But now Dynamite, or Rampage took the drop, and like, you thought that may be, oh, AEW not doing so great. Do they want extra they still got extra programming off of that. Well, they're doing just fine. I do think there will be some pressure once the second show is added to maintain, deliver. But then again goes the cost benefit. Because if they are getting paid $1 billion, reportedly, predictably, then it's like, okay, well, it's one thing if you're delivering this and you're only getting 25 million. Like, all right, that's fine. You're getting now 250 million. We need a little bit more off of this. It's a big summer for AEW, but let's not act like the company's dying just because they're doing 800,000.
Right, far from it. And again, if your television partners are throwing money and more hours at you, and the cost benefit is there, I don't think Tony's walking into a room with Warner Brothers Discovery and being like, yeah, we're going to do a second show. It's going to be on a different night. So we got to roll trucks and pay talent, and we got to bring in people. So I don't know, 50,000. Like, he's coming in with hard numbers. He's very much that guy who would do that. So whether or not this number that's been floated out there doesn't matter whether it's true or false. Regardless, there is a number that was agreed to that clearly is beneficial for all sides and is bringing more AEW content to TV. Again, we joke about it for better or worse in our case, because now it's another 2 hours a week of wrestling that you and I have to watch and talk about. But there are people out there who don't watch literally everything out there, and just want to go and enjoy wrestling. And those are the people that we're catering to. Those are the people that AEW want to bring in, are the people who are going from watching their show for 2 hours to watching literally anything else after those 2 hours. Don't care, as long as you come in, join us for 2 hours, or now 4 hours every week, 5 if you count Rampage. Those are the people we need. We don't need the 24-hour talkers, because they're going to watch anyway. Part of them have to. Part of them are just, they're completionists. That's what it is. Yes, they are in fact called cowards. Wait a minute. Kate in our chat talking stuff. And on the ratings front, I do want to mention, this is the funniest thing to me, and the worst thing is when WWE announced or they released the Monday Night Wars documentary series that they did. Do you remember how many times they went back to like week number and then they're doing the ratings and it's like 7.2 to 3.5, and I think people really got it in their heads that like these are numbers to be expected when there was no streaming. There was really no PVR in 1999, 1998, 1997. Go backward, like there was none of that. Therefore, +3, +7, +5, those numbers did not exist, and they were not nearly as important as they are now. And what a lot of people are reacting to are the same day viewership. And how many shows do you stream that are not live on the air? How many shows do you really make the time to watch live on the air? That's what doesn't matter as much. All the way up to +7. That's what we're after. That's what wrestling companies are after, to bring to their stakeholders and say, okay, this was first reaction, but here are the numbers afterwards. Here are the social numbers that we're bringing in. That's another huge number that's affecting the deals that they make and the conversations that are had. Look at the YouTube numbers for AEW. You look at the Kenny attacks Don Don attacks Kenny numbers from this past week. I'm just gonna look at it right now. I'm sure I could pull it up right on AEW's YouTube, and it's going to be one of the higher rated numbers for this week. 790,000. It's not bad.
Is it good though? 7 million or 700?
790,000. It's not in the millions. So the biggest one is still that Cody Rhodes Orange Cassidy match.
Yeah, which rules,
with the kid at the end, and it's only 2 minutes, but there's stuff like that that's big. Like
the CM Punk entrance is like huge. That's in the millions.
Yeah, that's 16 million. His first promo is 7.3 million. Jericho and Orange Cassidy's 9.5 million. So yes, there are bigger numbers, but my point is, on their average, they're trending pretty well in the right direction.
700 is good, by the way. I know I like exaggeratedly asked, like, is it good? So it is good for AEW, because there's some like WWE videos that don't get up to 700 at this point. So this is another thing of like, oh, you need to hit 1 million on YouTube. Nah, you don't. Like, you're fine if you don't hit that number on YouTube. The YouTube numbers, that is a big thing. People look at that. People look at the social media engagement, and I don't even think they do a good job with like their YouTube like SEO and things like that. Like they have some weird headlines for a lot of that stuff, which I don't understand. But I don't proclaim to know like how a lot of the YouTube stuff works. I leave that to you, Joel, and then blame you if the numbers are down. That's what a good businessman does, is blame everybody else and not, take any of the blame myself. Me and James Harden, we can't win if nobody else steps up. It's a 5-on-5 game out here. So yeah, people don't look at that stuff. The same day viewership, and then the P5, P31, you want 31 flavors, Baskin Robbins is where you need to be. All of that stuff. Like, there is, when it comes to live sports, like, you still pay attention to like the same day viewership. Now, this is where it becomes tricky of like, do you look at wrestling as a live sport? Because wrestling, I can be of a mind of like, I like watching it live. I don't like having the spoilers and everything. And if I miss it live, I'm a little less interested to go back and watch it, unless of course I hear like it's a great match or anything. A sports game, if I miss it live, I ain't rewatching it. I'll watch highlights, but if I know the final score, I got no reason to go back and like watch it, unless I'm like looking to like break down certain plays or anything. But yeah, then I'm just like watching highlights just for, okay, I want to see what happened here. But yeah, I got no incentive to go back and watch a full game if I already know the score. So I do wonder how wrestling fans feel. Like, if you know who wins this match, do you go back and watch it? I feel like if it's a good match, maybe. If it's just okay, a match, maybe not. Promos, those are usually quick, easy. You want to go back and rewatch those for a lot of that. So I do think there is more replayability if you miss it live compared to live sports. But I think there's another side of the argument of like, well, you want to compare it to live sports, so it should have that watch it now in the moment factor to it.
And I agree. And I'll tell you right now, the way that I consume wrestling after the fact is exactly how you're explaining it. If I'm hearing that the match is great, yeah, I'll probably watch the whole thing. But if I'm just kind of like don't have much time, trying to, breeze through it all, yeah, I'll probably scrub through a bunch of the match, try and hit the high spots, and then get the pinfall, figure out how the victory happened. If there was something that is worth kind of thinking about in the long term, story, whatever it is, that'll come into it. And then of course all the promos I'll watch, or basically if I notice it and I deem it important, then I want to see it. If I see two talking heads sitting behind a desk about to set up a video package, chances are I'm just going to scrub for about 4 minutes ahead and I'll be fine. But in sports, you're right. You gotta find, if you're rewatching sports, to me, I gotta find the goals. And this is what I loved when I used to watch Game Center, was that it would actually give you the bookmarks on the goals, and I can just go back and catch the play that led to the goal. And that was so easy, especially if I wanted to catch up on a game.
And this is how a lot of people, watch wrestling even nowadays. Like, I know Sean does it. Like, he'll start Raw like 30 minutes late and be like, all right, just kind of fast forward through commercials, fast forward through segments that don't seem all that important, video packages, things like that, and then caught up by the end of the show. Sometimes he would catch up almost immediately, and he'd be very mad of like, why it's 9 o'clock? How am I already caught up on this show? Like, that's what a lot of people do when it comes to wrestling, I feel. And yeah, that was always good when with Game Center, where they like, hey, watch this goal and catch up on things. I enjoyed doing that myself, but it all depends on how you just want to like look at the sports. And do you think wrestling has that same appeal of a live sporting event? I don't think it always does, despite despite what people may want to think. And again, depending on how you're selling it, I think sometimes, if you're going to advertisers and stuff, like, yeah, it does have this appeal. We want to make it like this. But then there's the other point of like, well, look at our P5, P7 numbers and see there's a lot of replayability when it comes to professional wrestling.
We're going to be talking about this again, by the way, on Wednesday, because as of right now, the plan is to have Andrew Zarian join us, who will hopefully be able to break down what to expect from the upfronts, which are happening in New York, which is, his backyard. So Andrew Zarian from Wrestling Observer and Mattman, he'll be here hopefully on Wednesday. I got to remind him because he just had his birthday, and I don't know how much he remembers. I feel like he was left on the roof of a hotel in Vegas, so who knows? But that's the plan, and we'll talk much more about the AEW deal because there is a lot on the table here. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be understood. There's a lot of expectation setting, which, to be perfectly frank, a lot of people are not going to fully grasp the importance of the deal, or at least like what the expectations are on AEW and on Warner Brothers as well for what this deal entails. Because a deal with Max also means that the potential of moving all of these specials, AEW pay-per-views, things like that, over to a streaming service, that's a different revenue source as well. Because I don't know if you're not still paying $50 per pay-per-view at that point, are you?
It depends. Like, right now they have 5 big pay-per-views, right? And if you keep it at 5 and load those up, maybe you can still get most people to pay $50. But if that quality drops, because let's look at All Out, All In, for example. We know they're loading up All In. That's Wembley Stadium. That show's getting loaded up, right? That might be a free show on Max. We don't know yet, but that might be a free show on Max. Then you're asking people 1 week later to pay $50 for All Out. Like, first off, what's that card going to look like? Because you're probably going to burn a couple of big matches on All In. So how do you turn around 1 week later? What do you have there to put on that card? and then you want people to pay $50 for that card. That could be tough. And that's where it's going to be a tricky balance if they are going to do these specials on Max. This was the thing where like, oh, Battle of the Belts, people thought this is going to be like Clash of the Champions, but they haven't made it like that at all. So it doesn't feel like you're just getting a pay-per-view for free when it comes to Battle of the Belts. So it's like, oh, this makes it tougher to justify paying $50. Like, no, it's still pretty easy to pay $50 because Battle of the Belts really ain't giving. Dynamite does more to undercut the pay-per-views when you're getting Omega and Moxley in a cage match for free than anything they've done with Battle of the Belts. But yeah, they're putting stuff on Max and they're putting big shows on Max. If they're getting all out, all in, that's going to be one, the end of kind of this honeymoon area, right? Because it kind of starts with the debut of Collision, which will be mid-June, and then you got Forbidden Door, and then you go to All In, and then you go to All Out. What do you have after All Out? And then what do you have All Out to, or All In to All Out? And then how much are you going to pay for All Out after you've seen All In potentially for free? So coming out of All Out, I think a lot of questions are going to be answered as far as where AEW is at. Until then, I'm excited to enjoy the ride because there's probably going to be a lot of good wrestling.
Absolutely. Before we bring on Mike Skyros, who's hanging out waiting for us, I'm just going to add this real quick. If I am in the shoes of AEW or of Max, I would probably do a 2-for-1. I would say you get this show, you get this one included. Since there is a quick turnaround, you have to make the value added that you're paying, $25 for All In, you're paying $25 for All Out, basically $50 into package deal. That's kind of where I would sit it.
But if All In's on pay-per-view though, how do you do that? Like,
but that's the question. Where is it going to be? We don't know where All In falls. Yeah. We know where All Out is going to be. It's going to be wherever AEW programming is, whether that's Bleacher Report or if it's on New Max, whatever it is. But because we don't know what All In is yet, if it's going to be on Max and so is All Out, then you do kind of have to lump them together or announce some sort of ticket item that includes both of them.
Okay, but what if All Out it is on Bleacher Report and then All In is on Max? Like, do they strike a deal with Bleacher Report? Like, I think it's a tricky situation that we need answers to. And I don't know if we're going to get any answers. Maybe we'll get answers on Wednesday. Maybe we still don't have answers, and maybe they don't have answers, honestly.
Right. Well, we should probably have answers with our next guest. Do you want to tee this up, Jeremy Lambert?
Yes, he is here to bury Kate, which is great. I feel like everybody should be here for that. He's an independent wrestler. He's Mike Skyros joining us. Mike, how you doing, man?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. And I'm always up to bury Kate. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Kate for a second. You've been you're part of Excite Wrestling, and Kate has been jumping on commentary there. How did this all start between you two?
Well, first of all, I'm the champion of Excite Wrestling, much to her chagrin. And I don't know where it started. I don't know if it's like some sort of weird jealousy thing or if it's just spite, but I thought we were getting along fine. And then she just started burying me out of nowhere on Twitter. I guess she wasn't a fan of my tactics or my stance against Excite Wrestling. And she became a little bit of a homer in terms of kind of sucking up to the office and taking a position against me and my guys. So I don't know. What do you guys think of that behavior? Do you think that that's kind of where Kate usually lies? Is she a suck up in that way? I don't know.
100%. That's how she got this job. That's the only reason she's on this channel is because she was just nice to me. And I felt bad. I was like, all right, sure. Take the Friday show. And then she just continued to use that. Clearly doesn't care about women's wrestling, going to the bathroom during women's wrestling and stuff. So no, that's why she's here. She's a coward, by the way, because she's been invited on to defend herself and she's not going to show up. So no. I don't know what you do with any of that.
I mean, listen, I've said it before. The biggest mistakes I ever made in professional wrestling media were inviting Kate to engage with us on Marbles on Stream on Twitch and inviting her onto the watch-alongs that we would do here on Overbooked for all of the AEW and WWE pay-per-views. I get it. I'm going to have to live with that for the rest of my life. Skyros, you are unfortunately going to have to live with Kate in the ears of professional wrestling fans as you continue to defend the Excite Wrestling Championship. That's where we are.
Yeah, it's a shame too because I thought, I was looking forward to working with her. She came into Excite with a lot of clout, quite frankly, compared to the commentary team we had before. So I was hoping she could get some eyes on the product. I didn't know those eyes would be her trying to blindside me at every waking moment on Twitter. But as you guys have probably seen, if you're following any of the stuff she's doing, when I turn up the heat a little bit on her, all of a sudden she's not really anywhere to be found, much to, as you said before, a coward.
Wow. So you call yourself the Moonlight Sun. For
I
those
do.
who maybe don't know what that means, can you explain it to us?
The Moonlight Sun was a name that I did not come up with. It was a name that was given to me because there's a promoter. He was helping promote a company called XWA in Rhode Island. His name is Jose Garcia. And he thought, because I wear a mouth guard with fangs on it, he thought that I resembled a vampire. So he put it on a poster. He said, returning next week to Thursday Night Throwdown, Moonlight Sun, Mike Skyros. And I saw it and I thought about it. I was like, that sounds cool. Like that make like a cool little tagline. Because I wasn't really doing anything at the time in terms of branding myself. So I was like, hey, is it cool if I just like take this and use it other places? So ever since then, I've kind of leaned into the not full Gangrel vampire, but like a vampire adjacent. Lately, I'm kind of going more for like the Lost Boys type thing. If anyone's a fan of that movie, and I don't know, I like shooting my promos at night. I like wearing my teeth with the vampire fangs on them. I'm a little more devious these days than when I started out my career. I hang upside down in the corner like a vampire bat. These little things I've just pieced together based on the night and kind of vampire culture and things of that nature that I've really infused with my personality to try and make an organic character.
Were you a fan of the Brood and Gangrel and them growing up?
So I missed the Attitude Era completely. I was like the perfect age to enjoy the Attitude Era, but for whatever reason, I don't know if we just didn't have the channels or whatever. Just wrestling was not on in the house until like Ruthless Aggression era. The first thing I ever remember seeing and like being like, yo, that's I got to see more of this wrestling stuff. I was on vacation with my family in Niagara Falls, and they just opened up that WWF zone right on the Canadian side of Niagara Falls. So they would run the promo packages for whatever was going on in WWE for the pay-per-views in the hotel. And they kept playing the one of the ladder match between Jeff Hardy and The Undertaker. I saw those two. I was hooked. I'm like, I got to see more of this. And it was off to the races from there.
I want to circle back to your current incarnation. Have you ever considered donning the whites and a hat and becoming a baker and rebranding yourself as Pie in the Skyros?
No, that's brand new. I gotta work on my culinary skills. I really want that to kick in, but that may have legs. Like if I really wanted to just go full food fight, why not? I'll throw a pie right at Kate's face.
There it is. Let's see that.
I'll aim. She's got a lot of forehead to aim for, so I can just boom.
What about your beer? You've been promoting
yes.
You've been working on, or that you've been kind of cross-pollinating with. Tell me about the beer that you're...
So I had a very cool opportunity to brand a beer with my face and name. I have a good friend named Adam Stone. He's a local wrestler, but he also runs 16 Stone Brew Pub in Utica and Holland Pat, New York. If you're in the area, check them out. They're excellent. And he decided to brand my beer. It is a Belgian white. It's delicious. If you have ever had a Blue Moon, that's the closest thing I can kind of resemble it to. But it was funny because for a company called Immortal Championship Wrestling that I wrestle for, we just decided to put out, they got a liquor license and started putting out some cans at the shows, and they sold like crazy. So I've been advertising their product and people are really into it. So we got to order some more cans, which is an excellent problem to have, but we are going to find more ways to get them out to people outside that upstate New York area.
I did want to ask you about sharing the ring with Carlito. because he just returned and got a big pop at Backlash. What was that experience like, being in the ring with him for a triple threat match?
It was interesting. It was a challenge, and I don't mean that challenge like this, but it was a challenge. He's an individual that, whatever reputation he has had in the past, I know there's been a lot of negative PR on him in the past, but he is an elite wrestler. When I got in the ring with him, I could tell immediately, like, yes, I understand completely why this guy has been on television and why this guy has been successful and like a household name for many years in WWE. And he is every bit still good enough. He's in phenomenal shape. Every bit worthy of the spot he has. And I was forced to step up and forced to really be creative in terms of like getting through that match and winning that match, because he spit a whole ass apple in my face too, and that really wasn't what I had in mind for that show. But and then, like, of course, like the 14, 15-year-old kid in me was like, oh, I'm wrestling Carlito, that's cool. And like I know the big thing went around online for a while with like people taking photos with wrestlers, but that aside, I'm really trying to, at this point in my career, like take time to sit back, and when something cool like that happens, no pun intended, I like to sit back and just be like, oh yeah, that's pretty dope. I'm wrestling Carlito, or I'm in the ring with Eddie Edwards, or I'm on a show with Ron Simmons. Like it's cool to like kind of breathe that stuff in and enjoy it.
Do you get a say? Sorry, Joel. Do you get a say in the apple that gets spit at you? Like, I don't like Granny Smith. Can I get a delicious red spit instead?
I mean, if it was up to me, I would have made him bite into a crab apple, but I didn't really get a choice in that matter. I believe it was a Granny Smith they spit, if I remember. I got to look up the footage again. There's a clip out there somewhere, but I think it was a Granny Smith that he spit at me. But his aim's good. He hit me right there, right between the eyes.
Years of practice, I should hope he has.
Yeah,
got it.
He's a sniper.
I'm getting angry DMs from our best friend Kate over here.
Oh, wonderful! That warms my heart.
She wants me to bring up the Salt City Killers, and
of course.
Then she also says, because Syracuse is known for salt potatoes.
We are known for salt potatoes. Salt potatoes is a delicacy. It's very literal. I don't know why it's not done more places, but they're delicious. They're exactly what a potato needs. Just salt.
Okay.
Just salt. But in terms of the Salt City Killers, so when I was first getting out on the road, there weren't a ton of people that kind of put me on and got me bookings. And after me, there have been a lot of guys coming through the school that I really wanted to afford opportunities. And I've been very fortunate in the fact that I've been able to be a champion a few places and gain certain status in companies to where I can call shots and bring people in. And with Excite Wrestling, I found a bunch of guys from my school that had a gripe with the owner, Johnny Moose, and we all decided to band together, take some spots for ourselves, and we're kind of running roughshod over that whole show. So it's Salt City Killers is about Syracuse wrestling and putting our guys on.
What are some of your goals when it comes to wrestling, short term and long term? Short term, I can assume just throwing a pie at Kate's face. But besides that, and then long term goals as well.
Short term goal is I want to appear on a nationally broadcasted wrestling company. I don't care if I am getting apple spit in my face by Carlito. I don't care if I'm on AEW Dark, rest in peace, but I don't care if I'm on AEW getting beaten up by someone. I think I am good enough to be on national television, and that's something I want to check off the goal list. And I want to wrestle more internationally. I've been very privileged to wrestle in Canada quite a few times this year. I want to take it overseas, and Japan being one of my long-term goals that I've had for a while. I'm about this close to making that happen, but I'm not going to jinx it too much. I just have always enjoyed that brand of wrestling. And my long-term goal is I would have to weigh the options as they were presented to me, but my long-term goal is I want wrestling to be my full-time job. It doesn't matter if I'm grinding on the indies, if I'm signed somewhere, if I'm just moving a boatload of merch, I want wrestling to be my full-time job, 100%.
You've had some work with Beyond Wrestling over the last little while.
Yes.
What's talk to me about working Beyond Wrestling, and it's more of a, I guess they're trying to work more of a TV style product now. Is there a big difference between that and the way that you're normally used to wrestling?
Yes, because they put much shorter time limits on the matches. So Beyond Wrestling, if you listen to the announcements, it is a very strict 10-minute time limit. And a lot of those matches end up being 4 or 5 minutes because of the constraints of their live stream. And they're trying to fit a ton of different wrestlers on the card, much to their credit. So it's been like a really cool challenge to be like, okay, how do I jump in on this Wrestling Open / IWTV / Beyond Wrestling audience that has seen everything, that is not easy to please, that kind of sit back when you get there, like, impress me, and figuring out a way to do that in 3-4 minutes has been really frustrating at times, but also like really cool and rewarding. And I think it's let me like build a lot more confidence and grow a lot more. And honestly, a lot of people have seen me for the first time or gotten to know me a little bit because I've been on those programs. So like, no matter, if I'm on there every week or if I'm on there every once in a while, it's been really cool to be a part of Wrestling Open and beyond. And it's been invaluable in terms of getting my name out there. I've gotten bookings specifically from appearing on Wrestling Open. So I think it's super dope, and they're planning on doing every Thursday forever. So I plan on showing up there as much as I can.
And you faced Alec Price earlier this year, and for my money, one of the best on the independent scene right now. What was it like working with Alec?
Alec's been on a roll. It's funny because I've wrestled Alec at a few different stages of his career. I wrestled him right when he was getting started about 4 years ago. I don't know what number match it was, but it was super early. And I'm tight with the Bell Time Club that he's trained out of and his trainer, Bo Douglas. And so I've known that kid for a long time. We're not like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend we're like super close friends, but it's been cool knowing him that entire time and watching him on the come up. I know he works super hard. He hustles, and he is a completely different animal that I wrestled this most recent time than when he first started. And it's funny because normally I would look at a dude like that, like he's a skinny kid. He's not super intimidating or anything like that, but he brings it as much as anyone else brings it. And he wrestles like he's 7 feet tall. And that kid's going to end up somewhere. I think it's a matter of time. Within the next year, you will see him under contract somewhere. I don't really think that's too hot of a take.
What gets you pumped up for a match? Like, how do you get in the zone before you go out there?
I've tried a few different things. Like I tried doing the thing where I would listen to music, but it would just end up like I would end up just cycling through too many songs. I tried like a few different routines that didn't work. A lot of the time like to find like a dark little corner. I pace around and I'll find it'll either be a locker or like a very like a thin wall or something, and I'll kind of Goldberg it a few times before I go out. Try not to concuss myself or bleed down my forehead. But I don't know what it is, but if I don't headbutt something right before I walk through the curtain, I don't feel right.
Scary. So what are you headbutting? Just a wall, a door? You could Goldberg yourself in this situation now.
Right. So I try to go at like 50%, not 100%. I'm not trying to concuss myself. It's usually like if I can find a locker is usually perfect because it just has that little bit of give, or like something that's like aluminum or metal is perfect. A lot of places have these thick wooden doors or like these thick walls. Those are a no-go. Drywall, I feel like I'm going to go through if I do it. So if I can find a locker, if we have like a real locker room, those are usually just what I'm looking for.
So hold on. If you're going to head through a locker, a drywall, anything like that, mm-hmm. What's your approach in hardcore matches or death matches? Is it something that you would want to be a part of, take part in, or are you more of a traditional wrestling kind of guy?
traditional wrestling, like straight up wrestling, has always been what I've really been interested in. I think if there was a reason for me to have a street fight or a hardcore match or even a death match with the right person, I would do it. But it's not something I take lightly. And it's no beef with anyone that does that style of wrestling. That's just not the style that I've been super into. But if it ever got heated enough with someone that's the way we had to settle it, I would 100% settle it like that.
Your opponent's just gonna have to bring just a stack of lockers to the ring, and just keep.
They're playing right into my hand at that point.
That's right. And you'll just have to be like, you don't watch the tape, you didn't see the interviews.
No, they got to do their research.
That's right.
Tell us about the lineage of the Excite Championship and everything going on there.
You know what? A lot of champions say this every time they win the belt, but I'm trying to bring some stability back to that belt because, quite frankly, that belt's been hot potatoed for the last probably 2 or 3 years between 5 or 6 different people. I think I've had the longest reign because I won it in February. I've had the longest reign that belt's had in a while. And it's contrary to popular belief. I care very much about Excite Wrestling and wanting it to succeed because there's a lot of people in upstate New York that need solid places like that to work. And I think Excite Wrestling has been underselling itself for a long time. And I think they've been letting a lot of people that really, have had their turn in the heavyweight title scene just go over and over again and trade the belt in between each other. So I'm trying to make that belt one of the top belts in New York and in the Northeast. And I want all the best wrestlers to come to Excite and fight me for it because I got maybe 1 or 2 more people left that Excite, and they're out of contenders. I don't know if they're gonna throw students at me, if they're gonna break up some tag teams and throw them at me. But between Sean Carr, between Cade Lothbrook, between Bill Collier, they've thrown all their best guys at me, and I'm still the champion. Kevin Bennett, who's the ESW champion, Smash champion, I won it off of him. So Excite's running out of people if they really want to dethrone me. So I feel like I'm going to hold on to that belt for a while.
Certainly making a hot case for that too.
Yeah.
Do you know who the first Excite champion was?
The first Excite champion, I want to say that's tough because I know they've been around. I want to say they started in 2012. I want to say their first champion was might have been Rob Cook. I could be wrong though. I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm going off of Cage Match here. So if if Cage Match is wrong, then we'll blame them. It was a man by the name of Joe Gacy.
Oh my God. I got beef. I got indirect beef. I have one-sided beef with Joe Gacy that I don't think he even knows about.
Here's the thing. This person to my camera left over here been compared to Joe Gacy with that look on his face there. Very similar kind of face. I don't know. You can see it? So if you want to cut a promo on Joe Gacy and aim it, you can literally look at him a little bit and visualize him right there. If you want to have the one-sided beef and cut a promo on Joe Gacy, he's right there for you.
It's tough because Joe Gacy is such a nice guy. My beef isn't with Joe Gacy the person. My beef is with the idea of Joe Gacy because Joe Gacy has been put up on this pedestal as this untouchable godlike figure by Excite Wrestling and specifically by Johnny Moose, the guy who runs Excite Wrestling. And I don't get it. Joe Gacy he spends more time promoting Joe Gacy, who is doing great things for himself, but he's on NXT right now. Joe Gacy is doing nothing for your business. People are not buying a ticket to Excite Wrestling to see Joe Gacy. You should be advertising the top people at Excite Wrestling, whether it's Sean Carr, Bill Collier, the Salt City Killers, I don't know, the champion, me. Talk about us. Talk about what we have coming up. Don't talk about Joe Gacy. Don't talk about Cody Rhodes. Don't talk about people that aren't going to be on the marquee. It drives me insane because I want them to succeed so bad, but they keep stepping on their own toes and failing to promote the good things they have right under their nose. So, plus, you haven't done anything to me yet. I don't want to yell at you. Maybe Maybe if you start treating me like Kate, I'll do some digging. I'll find something to yell at you about.
He does a show. He does a show with Kate. He's in cahoots with Kate. I don't know if you know this, but
everyone needs a tax write-off, bro. Charity, it's a charitable cause. I understand.
Yeah, like Jeremy, if you see our numbers, there's a reason why I brought Kate along for the ride. Let's face it. Come on. I am the Joe Gacy, and she is the person. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. She's there. People like her for what she brings to the table, whatever that might be. But no, listen, I like Skyros. He seems to be he's a man with a good head on his shoulders.
I'm legitimately trying to get your head kicked off, Joel Pearl, because I'm trying to get you booked for Excite, and then we can advertise you as Joe Gacy. And, Joe Gacy, I think WWE probably has a trademark to, might get in trouble. This ain't a fake Razor Ramon Diesel situation here. And then Skyros can just kick you in the head and be like, get out of here, Joe Gacy. So I'm basically just trying to get you beat up, which I'm one to do on this show.
I think even if I beat up Emma Chase and Joe Gacy, Johnny Moose might shed a tear right into his slushie.
Wow. Okay.
Tear-flavored slushies for everyone.
I just noticed that you
That doesn't sound great.
Salty.
You had matches against HC Lock, didn't you?
Not yet. I've
coming up.
I have a title defense coming up against HC Loc on June 2nd in Elmira, New York, actually.
So day
It'll
after,
be the first time we've ever wrestled.
A former ECW alumni.
Yes.
A Ring of Honor alumni.
Yes.
Someone who's been around for a long time. How do you prepare for someone with that much experience going into a big title match like that? Again, the day after my birthday.
Well, I mean, especially being the champion, like, you can't be a slouch. Like, I could very easily try and do, like, try and be a cool bad guy and sit back on my laurels, be like, oh, I have nothing to worry about. But he's been around for 20-something years for a reason. He's been all these places for a reason. He is exactly what he says he is. He's a tough old man. The problem is I'm a tough young man. And last time I checked, that measures a little higher than a tough old man. I'm sure he's got quite a few tricks up his sleeve that he's picked up over the years, but athletically, that dude cannot keep up with me. I don't care what he thinks. I will have him sucking wind face first on the mat. I promise you.
Mike, we appreciate you joining us today. Let everybody know where they can find you at and what you got coming up.
Cool. I appreciate you guys having me on. This weekend, I will be in Pennsylvania for Smash Master Wrestling in a tag team match. I will be in New Jersey at the H2L building for Bloodstorm Pro Wrestling. And then I will be at Pro Wrestling Grind on May 26th and Oneida, New York on May 27th for New Pro Wrestling. You can find me on every social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at MikeSkyros, Mike Skyros. And I have a pro wrestling tee store if you want to buy merch. But if you see me at a show, and honestly, if you see me anywhere, I usually have my merch on my person with me at all times. So you see me out in the wild, I will probably have merch in a vehicle near me. So catch me at a show, buy a t-shirt, come say hello, take a picture, and then tweet at Kate that you took a picture with me and how cool of a guy I am, especially compared to her.
There you go. Mike, we appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. Thank you again for joining us. And good luck. Good luck with everything.
Take care, fellas.
Much appreciated. There you go. Mike Skyros, who, much like all of us, dislikes Kate. Can't blame
him. It. I really do. I understand it. Of all the things you could dislike in this world, I get it. Kate is the one you should always dislike the most.
Shotdown Spurs did leave a super chat during that instead. Skyros.
Pretty sure it's Heroes.
Is it? Yeah. So it doesn't even. I don't know how to say it.
Heroes.
Heroes sounds Spanish. Is it Spanish?
Greek. Heroes is speak.
Oh, Greek. Yeah, Greek. It is.
Greek speak.
I don't know this stuff. I wasn't a geography major or a food major. I don't know.
So your internet's gone south all of a sudden. Oh no, this is what happens. Skyros leaves us and Jeremy's internet does too. This is how it goes. Anyway, a great time with Mike Skyros. Really, really appreciate his time. I mean, if I could find that beer in Toronto, Canada, I will. Otherwise, I'm just going to hit him up to bring me some. That's what I'm going to do. I think Jeremy's back. Jeremy,
yes,
are you back?
I am. I don't know what happened. Yeah, yeah.
Get you some. You want some of the Skyros beer?
I do, actually. I don't really drink, but I'll take some. I'll try it out. Seems like it'd be good. We can drink it on air. We get demonetized if we drink it on air.
No, not if we're deep enough into the show. I think we're okay. Put it in a koozie or something.
Put it in a koozie.
Did you like my? Yeah, exactly. Did you like my pie in the Skyros joke?
No, for those that don't know, Joel's internet did not drop during that after that joke. I booted him because I was so annoyed by that joke that I just kicked him from the studio for a second or moved him from the video. So,
come on, you had fun with that. You loved it.
So did he. Enjoyed it, so that's what mattered. But I was like, oh my god, what are we doing, Joel Burrow?
We're having fun here, Jeremy Lambert. It's a Monday morning. This is the show that we do.
We are having fun.
Anyway, big thanks to Mike Skyros. Let's I guess we got to talk about some of the weekend stuff. I mean, we now know that it's going to be at Night of Champions for the World Heavyweight Championship. The final, Seth Rollins takes on AJ Styles. This is a match that's going to be, as the children say, a banger. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think of this matchup? And are you upset that it's not Edge, or did you just think Edge played it really well, getting a little bit of emotion going into his match on Friday?
I still think it's cowardly booking that it's not Edge. Like, the story is there with Edge. What? Just do that. I'm tired of these banger matches, Joel. I'm tired of them. There's banger matches every week. Give me something with a little more to it than that. The story, I'm not, Joel, everyone knows I'm not an Edge fan. I don't care to see more Edge matches. That's not the issue here. I don't care to see more Edge matches. I thought the story was better if Seth beat Cody and then Seth beat Edge. I thought that was a good story. That's a good way to wrap up 2 years of stories. Instead, Seth beat Finn, which was fine. There was a little bit of a story there from the Universal title. Like, okay, sure. He's going to face AJ, which there's not too much there. It does feel it's like, here we go. Seth and AJ, banger match. Tune into Dynamite, first time ever. That's what it is. I wanted the Edge match, and I'm not an Edge fan. But I thought it made more sense. Edge was like, I can't miss the end of the Maple Leafs playoff run though, in case they come back, and I got to be out. I can't go out for the main event. The third period's going to be on. I gotta watch that. Look, I don't want to sound like I'm down. It's like, oh, Jeremy hates good wrestling and everything. Ashok said Jeremy wants crapper matches. Honestly, I love awful matches. There's not enough just like awful matches in wrestling. Everybody just has like good, solid professional wrestling matches nowadays. Everything's like 4.25 stars. I want the negative star matches, the 1-star matches. Give me that awful wrestling, because it's different than someone's gimmick just needs to be bad wrestler. Like, that's the gimmick, just that you do awful matches. And who they tried to like play that off of like, oh, they're being awful on purpose, and this is their actual gimmick out here. And then it just turns out they weren't very good.
In the bell
like
ring,
yeah, Seth and AJ will be good, right? It's gonna be a great match. There's no doubt about that. It's gonna be great. The winner I'm fine with. I assume it'll be Seth, but apparently if AJ wins, he goes to Raw and he's just part of Raw, which, all right, cool. It's going to be a great match. I thought it made more sense to do Edge. I think that they missed an opportunity to give you an easy story there in lieu of doing a banger match. Are they doing a banger match in lieu of giving you a great story?
I do agree with you. I am also wondering, Edge loses at Night of Champions, and then what do you do with Edge? It feels like they're going to start building Edge for a new program. I don't know what it is, don't know who it could be, but going in and having a Night of Champions loss and then having to shift immediately to Money in the Bank or to SummerSlam, I don't know. Edge usually likes to slow burn whatever he has coming up. and this might not be a slow enough burn for him, creatively speaking. Though again, I do agree with you that this would have worked.
Isn't it still a slow burn? Like he loses.
No.
He loses the triple threat match though. And then where are you on from there? It's still, let's go into Money in the Bank. What is he doing? What is Edge doing? This is the question on everybody's mind. What is Edge doing at Night of Champions? Because he's getting that Saudi payday.
Is he though?
Feels like he is.
I don't know if he's going to be booked for the show. I don't know if he wants to be booked for the show.
It feels like these wrestlers typically take this Saudi payday here, especially the older generation guys, which is everybody on the roster at this point. It feels like he's going to take this one. Like, does he work with a new talent coming up? Does he, I don't know what Edge does, because typically he does, like, you're right, like a slow burn feud. And I thought the Seth thing would be like, you're putting together a program in 2 weeks, and maybe he's not going to work Night of Champions because he's going to be entered into some type of program in 2 weeks.
He hasn't worked. Sorry, internet's messing up again.
And Night of Champions. Does he work with Theory? Like, is that?
I don't think he's going to work Theory.
Yeah.
Sorry, your internet was acting up again. I think we're back now.
I know. Am I back?
Okay. You're back. Edge in Theory is one. By the way, Edge hasn't been back to Saudi since 2021. So he hasn't exactly been running back to do the shows. Originally, I thought it was going to be Edge and Beth in a mixed tag at the last Saudi show, because it was like, let's get both of them on the card doing a thing against Judgment Day, but clearly they didn't do that. So I don't know if Edge is going to go back. I don't know if Edge really cares to go back. Maybe once was enough for him. And he's always struck me as the guy who's like, I'm going to do what's best morally for my family, especially now that I have the kids and I've got 2 daughters and so on and so forth. And again, like there are other people on that roster who have done the same thing. So, by the way, Chi-Town Spurs with Super Chat saying Edge versus Omos. Honestly, they might do it.
Oh, stop it. Is he winning?
Is Omos winning?
Yeah, is he winning that match?
I could see him winning. I could see Edge putting over Omos. I could. It would make sense to me.
It would make sense, but is it going to happen? I mean, that's the thing. Is it going to happen?
Yeah, I think it would. If they do it, I think it would. That's the way I see it. Edge doesn't come in to win a bunch of matches right off the bat. But then again, you can't just do the one Omos match and then that's it. Edge would be like, I want to build this guy up. And in true Chris Jericho fashion, it wouldn't work that way. Edge would somehow end up with the victories.
No. Edge would come away the victor here, because they ain't doing nothing with Omos. They keep just beating him in these big matches. So even if he beats Edge, then they're not gonna. What are they going to do with him afterwards? Probably nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's just what I see for Saudi Arabia. It's again, yeah, like you said, it's going to be good matches for Seth and AJ for the World Championship, and then you do have to fill out the undercard, and we're going to get deep into the undercard in a second. We talk about Sami and KO, but I think I got to vamp for a second while you refresh your page for a sec. Case in point, this is what happens. Yeah, exactly. He's just going to win. So I would have Omos do his thing. I think that would work best. Oh, no, there's 3 of you. Oh, no, there's 1 of you. Are we back?
Ohio internet is just, what can you do?
I can't boot you from that
chat. I know. I tried to, too. I think it's logged in. So, whatever. It'll exit when it exits. We can just have, look at this. Just blank screen. Oh, it just
went. That's all you had to do was replace yourself with yourself.
That's how the delay is on this thing. Is it just now realized I logged out on the other page?
You know, you gotta restart your computer every once in a while. You know that, right?
I got the new computer. I restart it all the time. I actually shut this thing every now and again.
My God.
Instead of leaving it running. Yeah. I'm actually trying to, get a little bit more life out of this one than the last. Not that I got like limited life out of the last one, but I'm trying to get a little bit more. A-Shock says give Omos a win over Corbin. What does that mean? Corbin just got beat in 3 seconds by Cameron Grimes, which was good. I actually like that they did that. But like, what does beating Corbin mean at this point?
It's just a win because wins and losses matter, according to Cody. Carmella said they don't matter in WWE. She's very smart like that. I will forever bring up that clip on Talking Smack where she said wins and losses don't matter. And I was like, we admit it.
A lot of people have said that. Like,
on the air?
Wrong. Yeah, well, maybe not on the air, but in interviews and stuff. Just in random interviews. Natalya is out here just like the draft doesn't matter in interviews. But yeah, I'm just got drafted by who? Wait, she got drafted by Raw, right? Got drafted by Raw.
Have might show up against Rhea.
Yeah, she is. It's the time for the bless Natalya, man. She just finds a way to get into a title program once a year. Oh, the best. The absolute best that Natalya keeps getting into these programs. I love it.
She deserves it too. Honestly, like I've had the pleasure of interviewing Natalya, and like, listen, she speaks very candidly and she speaks with a lot of passion for wrestling because it really is something that she has spent her entire life involved in, her and her husband for that matter, to the point where like they're training a lot of the current wrestlers and some of the upcoming wrestlers. So for her, this is almost a reward for her. Natty has been around for so long, and like I understand if people want to crack jokes about her, but she also spends a lot of time in those interviews explaining why people need to pay a little bit more attention to her because of her longevity, because of her experience. So I've looked at Natalya differently over the last couple of years than I used to. I know it's so easy for us to crack jokes about her, and it really is funny when she like just kind of saunters her way down the ring on Monday Night Raw and just like, I'm going to challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Rhea. That's funny. There are better ways to get there, but the match itself, I'm sure it's going to be really good. I'm sure it's going to be fun with Rhea and Natty and whatever they do. As long as Natty slaps Rhea and says bitch one time, we're good.
How pissed is Dolph Ziggler that he ain't got this lineage to where he can keep getting these spots every year? Because they're kind of similar in that they've been around for a while. They didn't take many breaks. They're always, solid hand type of people. And the audience is just, they look at them a certain way because they lose all these matches, right? Bless Natalya, but she's lost all of these opportunities and yet she still gets them and everything. Ziggler, very similar position, but while Natalya gets her yearly shot, Ziggler ain't had it since the it was me type of thing. He's just thrown out there on a random episode and loses. Dolph Ziggler should look at Natalya, and that's who we should be like, it should have been me. Why am I not the Natalya of the men's division? And by the way, that's not a bad position to be. You're on programming, you get in a big program at least once or twice a year. It's not a bad position to just be the Natalya of the men's division. And Ziggler should look at her and she's like, that should have been me.
Ziggler needs to stop going on comedy tours and instead start training the younger talent. And then he will be given these opportunities like Natalya is. And I don't know for what, because all of a sudden he's going to wind up getting his ass kicked by the Intercontinental Champion Gunther. And then, listen, we win. The fans win. Gunther wins. Ziggler does not. I guess neither does Natalya.
Ziggler should come out and just step to Roman Reigns. Just Roman's talking. He's doing his bloodline stuff. Acknowledge me. Your brother's a bitch. Apologize. Solo's the only ride or die. Why? I'm here to show the world. Here to show the world. Come on! And then out comes Dolph Ziggler, just sauntering down, skipping, getting in Roman's face. You've had this long title run. You don't even do the it should have been me. We've played that because he should want to be Natalya.
Yeah.
Like you're boring the fans with all these long promos. These fans don't want to see these long promos. They want to see exciting matches. They want to see someone who bust their ass every single time they are in the ring. They want to see someone who is given everything thrown at them, taking it, and still standing. They don't want to see a part-time champion. They want to see someone who shows up to work, who has done Spirit Squad gimmicks, who has traveled on the road with The Miz, who had the greatest Money in the Bank cash-in ever, not Seth Rollins. They want to see me. They want to see Dolph Ziggler. I was going to say Dolph effing Ziggler, but then that's gimmick infringement on Seth Rollins. They want to see Dolph Ziggler.
Two things. First of all, you realize you just brought up Seth Rollins' first challenger for that World Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be Dolph, and he's going to play that role. And because we're around Money in the Bank time, he will be like, I was the best Money in the Bank cash in, not you, Mr. Heist of the Century. Get all the way because I'm Becky Lynch's husband. He will absolutely do that, and it's going to be so annoying. By the way, chat's asking what Ziggler's last title was. It was the NXT Championship last year around WrestleMania. Just no one remembers that. Remember that, chat. I know you don't remember that, chat, but remember that, chat.
See, he can bring that up. He can bring that up too. I'll be like, they want people to work with the young talent to help. You don't care about any of that. You're only here to help your family, your blood. Look at all the people that you've left in your wake. What good did that do any of that? I'm out here to try to teach the younger generation, help build this company. You're here trying to destroy this company. You're selfish. I'm me. I show up every single time I'm called on. I'm here every single week. I might be in catering. Doesn't matter. Still giving advice to the talent. I'm here. I'm showing up. I'm here to show the world that I am the show off. I am Dolph Ziggler. The name.
Every time. And that's like 5 years ago. Remember, he wins the U.S. Championship. He puts it on the ground. And he's like, I'm out of here. And then he comes back like 4 or 5 weeks later. But meanwhile, everyone, and we've talked about this before, but like,
again, are your eyes okay, Joel Pearl?
My allergies are acting up. I got something in my eye. I'm so emotional for Dolph Ziggler to get this comeuppance. No, Ziggler went away for like those 5 or 6 weeks, and we're all sitting there just being like, he's going to go work the indies. He's going to have this huge like resurgence, and then he's going to come back. And he comes back 5 weeks later, and all they did was play his music and then do the stupid record scratch. And then he comes out and he's like, I deserve everything. And everyone's like, what? You left. You George Costanza'd yourself back into this thing, and we haven't done anything with him since. Because again, I think honestly, it just got to the point where they were like, we can use him for everything else. We can use him for, for comedy. We can use him for Be a Star campaign. He's there.
Yeah, mention all of this though. Like they go out there, I'm out here doing the charity work, doing the promotional work. What are you doing on your bus, on your private jets type of thing? Just lay into them. And then Solo like spikes them. And then we never hear from Dolph Ziggler again.
Yep, there it is. Absolutely. By the way, that Samoan spike that Solo uses is a thumbs up. So go ahead and leave one on the video while you're here. Let's talk about, since we're talking about Solo Sikoa, Solo and Roman are going to be going for the unified tag titles at Night of Champions. They announced the match on SmackDown. They're going to face Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. That got people real confused, and also I think to a certain degree concerned. When you saw this, what do you think about the announcement of not only going for the tag titles for Roman Reigns, but also the announcement that Sami, and in the case of KO going back to Saudi, in the case of Sami making his first appearance at a Saudi Arabia WWE show?
My initial thought, let's talk about Sami and Kevin. That's their celebrity name, Cammy. Sami and Kevin, with them, pretty surprising because, what was the talk leading up to Elimination Chamber? It was, well, Sami can't win the title because he can't go to Saudi Arabia and defend it. So they'll never do that. It's like, well, it seems like he might be going to Saudi Arabia. Now, do we think it's a swerve? Do we think that something happens next week or the week later, the week after? Because the show's in 2 weeks. So I guess technically this week and the week after. Do we think something happens there to where they don't end up going? But it feels like if they're going to advertise it, they're going to make it official. Maybe they deliver on it. I know that's the hope under the Triple H booking is they want to deliver on this stuff, but you know how that sometimes goes. It seems like I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they are going to go. What's changed over the last however many years? You know, I don't think it's a money issue. I think Sami was probably always offered this money. I don't know. Maybe he feels a different type of way of, you know, going. Maybe there is some progression. I don't know. WWE likes to tout the progression. You know, women are going, all this thing. Go ahead, Joel.
So I can pop in and say there have been some conversations between the Saudis and the Syrians. They are starting to work together again for political means. So there is a bit of an opening there, and therefore maybe the gates are open to explore that within their partnership. So go ahead, continue.
Does Sami even look at this? And Mustafa Ali has done this of like, I'm going to take this payday. I'm just going to donate it all to my charity.
100% is what I'm expecting. And I think a lot of people are too. And I don't even think it's wrong of us as fans to be expecting that, mainly because that is the most Sami thing to do, A. And B, Sami has said in interviews that he felt a little bad that he hasn't been able to spend as much time promoting and upkeeping his work with Sami for Syria. While the Bloodline story was going on, he was so busy and so immersed in that world that he admitted he didn't get to spend the time that he wanted to. And this is an opportunity for him to take what he will be getting from this show and donating proceeds directly to that. And again, like you mentioned, Mustafa Ali did the same thing. I think the first year I talked about last night, he donated his earnings to, I think it was water.org, and he continued to donate to different charities and different organizations for people in need. That's a good thing to do. And I think that's the best possible scenario when your work is going somewhere that you don't feel comfortable going to, but also you want to continue representing yourself and the company as the champion that you are.
And does Kevin do the same thing of like, yeah, I'll go and I'm gonna also put this into whether it be Sami for Syria or a different charity? Like, does he now do that same thing of like, okay, I'm gonna donate my paycheck to charity as well? So I'm gonna assume that they will deliver on this match, that Sami and Kevin are going to go. Whatever they do with their money is that's their call. If they do put it back into charity, great. Look, man, if they just want to keep that money, they got families and everything, and this is good money to support their family. Like, look, this is good retirement here. This is going to set up my family for when I'm not wrestling anymore. I can understand that decision as well. I really can. Do I think WWE should have any type of relationship with Saudi Arabia? Ain't the best moral principle and everything out there. When it comes to the wrestlers, though, I respect that decision if they're going to go and they're going to get that money, because that's life-changing money for some people. And so if they want that, more power to them for getting it, as long as they can understand the morality issues that kind of come along with it. But the company has the agreement, not the wrestlers. The wrestlers are just, we're just going to take this money. And that's why a lot of them don't go, is there is the issue of that. And, and we'll see with Sami and Kevin if they actually do end up going. But I imagine, and that's the easiest way to sort of like hit them, right? Is like, all this money you just paid me. Yeah, I'm going to give it back to a cause that maybe you don't support. And then you kind of use it for good in that sense.
And again, we don't know how much money they make from these appearances, individually speaking. So if they decide, I need this much to live and I want to give this much to the charity of my choice, these are decisions that they make. I'm never going to hold them accountable for their need to live, whatever that is. But I kind of expect it, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Sami and possibly KO would go turn around, donate it to that Sami for Syria. It makes the most sense to me. And I've seen a lot of people say it. And I think that a lot of people are more than willing to accept the two sides of that coin. You got to go somewhere that you don't agree with the politics, but from the money you are given from the place where you don't like the politics, you turn it into something good. And sometimes that's okay.
Hey, you know what? Taking care of your family is something good too.
Yeah.
By the way, like even if you're only doing half a donation, the other half you keep. Like, man, if you can set up your family, I don't begrudge that at all either.
I joked about it last night. I said Carl Anderson's going to go back and he's going to put another addition on his house because he's going to have 27 kids by the end of this year. Like, that's just the way it is. And then someone in the chat told me that they're expecting again, and I still haven't confirmed.
Carl Anderson be fucking, man.
They always expecting. Good for him. Good for that family. Contraception is expensive.
Machine gun, that's for sure. Yeah. His dick is a machine gun with that sperm.
Thank you.
Shooting him out.
Oh no! Why are we still live? I thought you were done after the first double entendre.
Like a machine gun, got to keep going here, Joe Pearl.
Yeah, and I see like Ryan Lambert in the chat being like, they work for WWE. It's not the best moral company. It's true. Like, again, unfortunately, wrestling has a skeezy underside to it. Most entertainment does. So this isn't something that should shock anybody. But we hope for little stories of helpfulness and hope that come from appearances in less than savory places. That being said, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa are on the other side of this. They're going to be competing for the tag titles. Is there a world where it makes sense to have Roman Reigns, who is a part-time WWE superstar, win the tag team championships and walk away with more gold and fewer dates? Like, what are we doing here, Jeremy?
Roman is the best. This man works a part-time schedule in the first place, and then he's gonna hit 1,000 days. The day of the Saudi show, right? Like, that's when he hits 1,000 days. And instead of doing this program where it's like, oh, you can dethrone Roman at 1,000 days. Like, he gets his milestone and everything, but you can build it up of like, you hit your 1,000 days, but that's it. You're not getting to 1,001. Instead of building up any type, like, those t-shirts are going to be obsolete immediately when you get them. Instead of building that up into some type of short title program, Roman's like, I ain't even defending these things. Them other 4 titles over there, let me get them. Let me get those belts. All right. Let me get 2 more titles for me and get 2 titles for Solo as well. Bless them. Bless them. I think they're winning this match. I think they are winning this match. I don't know what you do with the tag team division after that. I don't think they know what they're doing with the tag team division after that. They don't care. They want to just have all titles Roman, give them the Ultimo Dragon picture out there. That's all they care about, is what's best for Bloodline right now. That's what they care. And what's best for Bloodline is getting some more titles, making Solo look a little bit better, letting Heyman go on his big spiel. That's what's best for business, is what's best for Bloodline.
This all seems bad. And I'm all for it.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
Why not have the Usos show up, try to influence Roman and Solo into, like, try to get them to win the titles, get involved, and then basically screw up and cost them the tag title shot. And then maybe Roman gets pinned for the first time in God knows how long.
Absolutely not. Get out.
Okay, I'm just throwing it out there. Solo eats the pin and Sami and KO retain. Listen, the depth chart on both shows, tag team wise, it's not very deep. And there is opportunity to maybe have some movement. But Roman and Solo holding those tag titles, it just feels so weird.
But I'm with you. I think the better play is to keep them on Sami and Kevin. I don't mind like the Usos showing up, screwing up type of thing. I like that. That all makes sense. You know what makes sense in Bloodline business, though? You know what makes sense for Roman Reigns business? More titles, and then a promo where he can be like, it's that simple. It's that simple, Jimmy and Jay. You couldn't beat these guys in 2 tries? You had 2 tries to do it? Being sold one shot, one kill. What's the deal? Done. Took them out. These belts here, and then Roman, because you know they love acting like they care about these tag titles and everything. Roman takes some tag titles, and he's just like, you have these Raw titles. That's your consolation prize. You did good work. You did okay work. Here, make me proud. I'm gifting you these belts. I'm handing you. I'm setting the table for you. You ain't got to work for them. You take these. Don't screw up anymore. Don't fuck. That's how you get them to not screw up. It doesn't happen in the match. They come out. They try to interfere. Because Roman Smart is just like, said fuck out of my business. Don't come out here on this. And then maybe, yeah, they do come out. They screw up. You advance the storyline that way. And Roman Reigns' business. Roman Reigns' business is, here you go. Here you go, Jimmy and Jay. Let me hand you this like I've handed you everything else. Don't screw it up.
I said it before, I'll say it again. The Island of Relevancy runs on a very special element known as gaslight.
Yeah.
And this would refuel that element. Absolutely. Listen, I give it to you. At the same time, you then do the one thing that I guess would prove a little more Vince McMahon in WWE, and that is you devalue the tag titles, which are already pretty low on the totem pole right now, to be perfectly honest.
They main evented WrestleMania.
High enough for everyone, and now we focus on everything else. I don't hate it. At the same time, I don't think they're going to do it. I still think that they're going to lose the tag title match. Sami said in an interview that his part in the Bloodline story is, for all intents and purposes, done. And I'm pretty sure that interview dropped before whatever happened on Friday. So this is hopefully the end. But you can't have Roman just win the tag titles and give them to the Usos. Or maybe you can. And
why?
And then they're back. But then you just did a big friggin' loop around the building. That's all you did.
Who cares? That's all. That's what they've been doing. The story should have ended at WrestleMania. That should have been it. You should have gone off with that. Kevin and Sami win. Cody Rhodes wins, and then you can do Bloodline dissension and everything after that. We're back. Roman's still the champion on this. You got to keep him as still head of the table and talking down to everybody. So yeah, they've done a big loop around the building. That was their plan. Clearly, we're only in the 4th inning, Joel. This is the 4th inning.
We're not even in the 4th inning yet. It's only been 2 months since It's been 1 month since WrestleMania.
All right, 2 outs in the 3rd then. Sorry.
Two outs in the 3rd. Buddy, we're on the 3rd pitch in the 1st out. We're still working here, brother. We got to do, I think it was you guys talking about in the spotlight. It was like the bottom of the 6th is WrestleMania 39. Or WrestleMania 40 is the bottom of the 6th. WrestleMania 41 is the bottom of the 9th. So we still got 2 years. Roman in Nashville. That's where he's going to drop those titles at WrestleMania 43. That's where it happens. Extra innings, new stadium. Let's go.
I'm telling you, they are circling the building, Joel. They got to come up with these various ideas and various ways to keep Roman just, like you said, gaslighting all of them. If Roman loses and Solo loses, then that puts a shot. That puts a shot on him. And Roman bulletproof right now. Absolute bulletproof. He ain't taking these shots. He's just not. And I don't think Solo right now is taking these shots. So you got to keep that man bulletproof. And the way to keep him bulletproof, the way to keep everything under his thumb is to just put more titles on him.
So I truly believe that Roman has a magnum opus in mind as to how this thing ends. I do, mainly because at the WrestleMania press conference that everyone talks about the bottom of the 3rd, when I was watching it, he basically said, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this to basically give the reins to someone in my family when I leave. Roman is not going to stick around for much longer. I'm talking like less than 5 years by the feelings of it. Who does he pass it on to? Is it Solo Sikoa that eventually breaks out and becomes the guy and takes out Roman for those titles? Is it still Cody Rhodes? Or is Roman really trying to turn this into, because the story has become more insular again. It's no longer about who's challenging for the title. It's more about the Usos and Roman and Solo and Paul. Like, we're back to the core five putting the story together. Who takes it off of Roman? Is it someone from the outside? Because they just tried that and Roman won. Or is there someone from the inside of that core five? Paul Heyman, new WWE Universal Champion. No, but is there someone from the core four of the wrestlers, let's say, that ends up being elevated out of this entire thing and wins the WWE Universal Championship?
How old is Roman's oldest son? When's he going to be ready? When's he going to be ready?
I'm going to actually look this up right now while we're on the air. But
when the twins going to be ready?
Give them the tag titles.
Yeah. When's the oldest going to be ready?
Roman's 37. So let's just put it right there.
All right. So maybe his oldest is like a teenager, like young teen, 14,
maybe.
13, maybe.
Maybe. I got to look this up. I can't find any information on his kids, personal life.
Good. We don't need to be finding too much information on people's kids out there on the internet.
2007.
I'm not a math major.
I know I'm not a math magician either. So let's do this. 2023 minus 2007 makes them, they're 16 right now.
Yeah, boy or girl?
Pretty sure it's a girl.
All right, that's okay. She gonna be the first. She gonna be the first WWE champion female. All right, that's who we're setting up.
She's got 2 sets of twin sons. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
When
they gonna be ready?
Champions. Never. The first set was born the second set was born in 2020, and the other set was born in 2016.
Roman might be holding them titles for a very long time. Get them sons ready.
Right? They have to go to the CFL first.
Yeah, I guess so.
They got to work with The Rock on the XFL. They got to do something with Warren Sapp and then get called out by Warren Sapp on the internet.
I saw that. Wasn't the best look. Rock back in Fast and Furious, by the way. That man, he on his apologies. Rock's coming to WrestleMania. So is that the big ending? Is The Rock takes the titles? Because I don't think that's the ending that would work long term. Long term, no, unless Cody then beats The Rock. But how does that set up?
God, it really is twice in a lifetime.
Like, how does that set up, Roman Reigns' family if it's still just Cody Rhodes out there? And people are saying Jacob Fatu. I think a lot of us want Jacob Fatu in WWE. That man's had his opportunities to sign and everything. It just hasn't happened. I don't know. Those MLW contracts are what they are. Like, he seems to have like an actual decent contract with MLW. So I don't know when that's up. Solo seems to be the guy right now, but I don't think this story's not close to being over. I think trying to figure out where they're going with this right now is kind of foolish, because I don't see it ending until at least Mania next year. If Roman loses these titles, it feels like it's got to be Mania, right? Like, it doesn't feel like he is losing these belts at some other pay-per-view. No offense to SummerSlam, no offense to Rumble, no offense that they could run a stadium show again like they did at Clash of the Castle. It feels like it's WrestleMania where this man is losing these titles. And I think anything else kind of maybe a little bit of disappointment. It's not WrestleMania. Look, they had the opportunities with Drew and Sami, and it would have been huge on that. And the theory was, well, he's going to lose to Cody at WrestleMania, and then he didn't. It feels like it's got to be WrestleMania for this man to lose these titles.
What's strange to me is a lot of people have said Jey Uso over and over and over again as the next guy. They're the same age, though. Roman and Jey and Jimmy, obviously, since the Usos are twins. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Jey is the right guy. He's clearly proven time and again that he can act his ass off when called upon. Will people buy him as main event Jey for real this time? Not just main event Jey in the Thunderdome, because the story is there. and we don't have to put butts in seats. They just have to watch on the WWE network on Peacock or whatever the hell. I don't know. There's places to go with it.
I think people can buy Jey Uso as that guy. I think they can buy Jimmy as that guy, because the story is going, by the time they get there, you would think they've had enough of a story to set this up. And whenever that turn, if it comes, it would have to come. If that's who you're setting up, it's going to be a huge, huge deal. It's going to be a huge deal. So they would see Jey, I think, as that guy. I mean, they saw Sami as that guy, and he was only there for a few months. Now, Jey taking this abuse for years, but then does it come with fact of like, well, you're a little too long on this. Where we've seen the Usos get beat too many times at this point, because they actually did a good job protecting Sami throughout the Bloodline stuff. Like the Usos, they're getting beat and everything, but they'd have time to rebuild them. I think they would buy him as the guy, but would that be the correct choice for this? Is that worth everything they've skipped through to do all this? They'd have to tell a hell of a story, and they got the material to tell it, but that doesn't mean that they'll be able to tell it correctly, especially when they've dragged it to the point that they've kind of dragged it to.
They would also have to have Jey basically break away, do his own thing where he wins a bunch of singles matches and builds himself up more and more up the card, not just as the other Uso or one of the Usos. They've done a really good job so far of not making Jimmy and Jey feel like they used to, which was they're just together all the time. Lately, they've kind of turned it back into that. But, granted, we're not wondering which Uso is which anymore. We're finally at that point. We've been that way since the pandemic, where like we know which one is Jey, and which one's Jimmy. Solo, by the way, is only 30 years old, so he really does have the opportunity as he starts to reach his prime to get there. And also, his middle name is Yokozuna, so clearly he's got to win. He's got to be the guy. And I see Ryan in the chat saying "Money in the Bank, Jey." I don't hate that. That would make a really awkward and fun rift in the Bloodline story. That's where I come from it as. Is not whether or not the story works, but like imagine Roman having to give Jey side eye all the time and Jey being like, no, it's cool, Luce. I'm going to go after the World Heavyweight Championship. Or Roman being like, assuming that Jey is going to go after the World Heavyweight Championship. And then maybe Jey is more evil than his cousin Roman and he beats Roman.
Nah, you ain't doing this Money in the Bank cash in to end Roman.
It does need to feel bigger than that. I do agree.
Yeah.
You can't just have a sudden swerve. Oh my God. If this were 1999, absolutely. But this is not, that's not what we're working on here. I do like the idea of Money in the Bank, Jey, but then it would have to be an unsuccessful cash in. It would have to be one that's forced upon him by Roman, bringing him out and being like, you're going to go cash in against Seth Rollins right now, or whoever the title holder is. There's room there, but I like the idea of them feeling super awkward around each other with the briefcase, but the only way that can end is with either Jey winning the World Heavyweight Championship and breaking away for a little while, and maybe that does prove the main event scene for Jey, but it's very forced, or they just tease it until the point where he loses the Money in the Bank briefcase in an attempt to cash in, and Roman's just like, haha, you suck, LOL.
Solo wins Money in the Bank. And Roman, now listen, don't my idea until I give you my idea. Solo wins Money in the Bank. Roman says, let me get that Money in the Bank briefcase. Solo, being a good soldier, I'm just putting all the shit on Roman Reigns, the best.
Soldier.
This man rules. Says, let me get that. Gets the Money in the Bank briefcase. Seth Rollins is the champion. Who did Seth cash in on to win that title years ago? Who did he pin in that match years ago? The greatest cash in of all time? Roman running around with that briefcase. He already got these 2 titles. He cashed in on himself. Seth has got that other title. Roman just showing up, be like, "What's up? What's up, man? How you doing? How's that theme song working out for you, Seth? Is that good? How's that title that I ain't got? You like that title? I got this right here. I want that title. I'm gonna come get that title. Just remember that. Just remember that, Seth. You tell that story. And then, listen here, Joel Pearl. Then you want to do this big Solo turn. Solo has been undermined at Roman this entire time. He's having to give up his money in the bank. He just gave away these tag team titles to the Usos, right? Just Solo and Roman. What are you giving these titles for? He's always been the good soldier. The good soldier finally turns on him. This is straight up wire right here. Good soldiers get tired of being the soldier. He want to be the boss. So he becomes the boss on this. Maybe Heyman helps him out. Heyman sees that Roman getting a little long in the tooth here. Go that younger guy. Look at that fresher guy out here. So he backs Solo. Solo, only way to be the top guy is you got to cap the top guy. So Solo caps the boss. He becomes the boss. His name is his name. Solo Sikoa.
Doesn't feel like a big moment right now.
That's because you're a hater.
Well, yeah, there is that. But it just doesn't.
It's not a moment right now. It's a moment for, down the line.
For WrestleMania 40. For WrestleMania 45, sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Let the steak sizzle a little.
I am sizzling. It's true. It's very warm here in Toronto today. I like some of the stuff we're talking about. There's really interesting ways to get through it, but we're still stuck on, do Sami and KO lose the tag titles in Saudi Arabia?
Who cares? We ain't worried about anybody else, but this is the Roman Reigns business, baby. Who cares about the rest of these dudes? No one cares about that. We're talking Bloodline. We're talking Roman Reigns, Sami, Kevin, Riddle, Rollins. None of them matter. If it ain't Roman, we ain't rolling with it.
Can Tamina join the Bloodline?
No.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about Bianca Belair, though. She came out on SmackDown, was going to do a big title celebration in her hometown, home state. And the next thing you know, out comes Asuka, and she's turned her back. She's officially, I assume she's officially a bad guy because she misted Bianca with some extra chili flakes, as she mentioned on Twitter. I love that people are getting upset about that, by the way, as if they don't follow Asuka already and know that she's a bit of a troll. A bit of a troll? A big of a troll. So what do you think of the firm Asuka heel turn? It looks like we're going towards Bianca versus Asuka 2 at Night of Champions. Personally, I like the idea. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think of the turn, and what do you think of the potential match?
I'm fine with it. I like it. I hope Asuka wins. No offense to Bianca. She's had a good reign, but I don't know how much more she's going to be able to do with this reign at this point. The crowd is very behind EO at Backlash. I just need something different from Bianca right now than just being the champion. And Asuka would at least freshen things up a little bit. And it ain't fully Bianca's fault with some of the stuff she's been given during this reign, because it just isn't. She fought Damage Control for like 5 months and just beat them all at every turn. Now she's already beaten Asuka. So if she beats Asuka again, then who you going with? If it's not Asuka, you bring up one of these call-ups who just got in the draft. Like, is that who's going to beat Bianca? I think a heel Asuka would be good. Bianca, they love the adversity, right? Bianca given a little bit of adversity, not the champion any longer. Something fresh for her. So I'm looking forward to the match. First match was good. Mania match was good. I assume this one will be no different, especially you got a very clear heel face dynamic on it. You can play off the history with it as well. Bianca, the backstage where her eyes were burning. She's got the shit on her hands and she's still rubbing her eyes with her hands, which are also burning and everything. Like, can someone just throw some water on her? Like, where remember in school, the science lab, you had the little goggles or the
eye wash station. When you
yeah. We need that. Where was that?
One of those. They should have one of those at ringside now.
They should have one at least backstage. What's happening? Why weren't we throwing water on her? Was that going to make it worse?
Actually, that's something they should have had. They should have had the water and the towel and the wiping down.
She's wiping her hands, have this shit on it still, and she's wiping her face. No wonder it burns even more. What are we doing here?
Bianca would be awful on hot ones. Scott Evans would just, or Sean Evans, I should say, would be telling her, don't wipe your eyes. And she'd be like, oh, my eyes.
Get some water for her. Come on. The doctors just standing around looking stupid. I hope they got fired. I don't want to call for anybody's jobs, but them doctors was incompetent. Wow. They just let Bianca just burn her eyes even further. Bianca should sue them.
Jeremy, I advise you to be careful. The last time someone on a podcast started talking reckless about WWE medical, it turned into a whole thing, whole lawsuits.
Did it?
Yeah, you got a Z-Pack on you?
Oh. I thought you were talking about like a Fightful podcast. Like,
no.
Something like that happened?
Generalizations here. I don't hate the idea of Asuka winning this time. We haven't had a women's title change in Saudi Arabia. So this is one of those first time ever things that WWE would love to promote. And you know, how much bigger can it be than the women's title in Saudi Arabia where things are yada yada. That's a possibility that we can see. At the same time, Asuka as the SmackDown, or as the Raw, I guess, women's champion on SmackDown, you know how you usher in the championship changes? This is how you do it. You have Asuka win that title, and then you can start changing the name of that title. Asuka gets presented with the new women's championship. And then what about Rhea? Rhea just gets her own.
She just renames it herself. She's Rhea Ripley. Rhea Bloody Ripley.
Yeah, she called it the Rhea Bloody Ripley Women's Championship. Or because it has the blue background, she'll call that one the Universal Championship, the Women's Universal title, and then they'll do a different one for Asuka, and it'll be the WWE Women's Championship.
I think renaming the belts is the best idea they can do with it. And the Asuka winning it, and then kick off the new era with a new renamed belt. Same lineage makes the most sense. I still like my idea if they just bump into each other and then pick up the wrong title and just act like nothing happens.
Oops, sorry. Oops. Oh, no problem. I don't hate that. Or you and I made a joke about doing the Becky and Charlotte title swap in the ring, and
beat by beat.
Yeah, doing it beat by beat, but also just continuing that story like last time, as if it's kayfabe now, as if it's part of canon, where things are just awkward and it turns into a thing. And I don't hate that idea either. But I'm just, the men's titles aren't named after the shows. You don't need the women's titles to be named after the shows either. You can just have them be separate women's championships for World and Universal. Straightforward.
What's bigger, the world or the universe?
The universe of WWE encompasses the world.
So the universal title is more important, is what I'm hearing. It's a bigger title.
Is the Intercontinental title bigger than the world title?
No, because the world, the Intercontinental is part of the world, right?
But it is the world. The continents are effectively the world.
Doesn't count on the water, though. The world encompasses the water.
If the world title is ever defended on the water, let me know.
They've defended that thing on a boat, haven't they?
The boat was docked.
No. Well, it's still part of the water.
Only Jericho is the one who brings that to the boat on the water, and it floats and they go. He's the only one who's done it right. I can't believe I just said that out loud. Jericho did something right. Anyway, that's upsetting in so many ways. Yeah, man. Just rename the titles. Simple, easy peasy, as Asuka would say.
Nah, they're gonna do the title. They're gonna do the title swap. I can't wait, because it was so funny when they did it with Street Profits and New Day, and everyone's like, "This is so dumb. Why would they do this? They should never do this again." And they did it again with Charlotte and Becky. Like they don't care, guys. They're just gonna do it again. They're that fucking goofy meme. Like, I'll fucking do it again. Like, that's what they are. That's what WWE is. WWE, I'll fucking do it again. However he looks.
They'll just do the WWE instead of then, now, forever. It's just effing do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy.
Exactly.
Easy enough. Anyway, what else is going on tonight on Raw? May as well hop into this real quick, unless there's something else you wanted to touch on. We're going to talk a lot about AEW upfronts on Wednesday with Andrew Zarian, and I'm sure we'll talk about the CM Punk stuff, because That's going to be a big part of the AEW announcements at the upfronts. So one would assume. Do you think Punk is going to show up on Wednesday at the upfronts, or do you think they'll save him for Tuesday?
Oh, I hope so. That'd be so good. He's there on like the red carpet.
He gives a basket full of muffins to the people in the crowd.
Oh, I hope he's there. That's his big return, actually, is just the upfronts of everything. Instead of just saving it for the Collision debut, no, he's there at the upfronts. Yeah, giving muffins to the Warner Brothers executives and everything. He's going through the slides and the PowerPoint presentations of like, see what the ratings were a year ago when I was here. See what they are now with MJF as the champion. This is why I'm back. This is why we're getting a second show. Like, oh yeah, we need CM Punk leading the AEW keynote at the upfronts.
They'll call him CMPD Punk, CM plus Delta Punk. That's what
I don't get it.
Oh, once upon a time, Tony Khan called him the plus Delta. Called CM Punk the plus Delta for ratings.
What does plus Delta mean? Oh, it's a ratings thing. See, I don't understand this rating stuff.
Well, that's fine. You're not supposed to.
This is why I don't get on Twitter and argue like I do understand it. I just make jokes.
Fair. Either way, it's just he is the guy is really what Tony was saying.
He is him. Kids like to say. He's him. Yeah.
Yes. Him, Barry. I don't know. Second Coming. That's what we're going to talk about on Wednesday, along with the upfronts. Raw this week. We're going to start with Cody Rhodes. He's going to respond to Brock Lesnar's. Brock Lesnar made a challenge for a change. Brock Lesnar came to work. Brock Lesnar might come to work again this week, but Cody Rhodes and Brock seem to be going on as champions. Again, we talked about this on Friday. Is it something that we're looking forward to? Is it something that is kind of biding our time, or are we building Cody for something bigger?
I mean, he's going to do the match. I guess, maybe lose. I don't know. He's gonna talk. He's gonna say, "Oh, so what do you want to talk about?" Maybe he won't. Maybe it'll just be like, "You know what I want to talk about? We'll talk about Brock Lesnar." He's gonna accept. What if Cody doesn't accept? What if he's like, "You know what, dude? I already beat you, man. I don't feel like beating you again. Go beat some other people. Like you beat me up after the match. Big deal. You're a loser now. I won. Go win some matches. I got better things to do than face you."
What if he does that and then Brock Lesnar shows up with his tractor and turns over the Nightmare Express?
Oh, then that'll fire Cody up. Cody won't stand for that happening. Cody should care about these wins and losses. You should care about that. He's beaten Brock. I know he ran afterwards, but I ain't gotta beat you again. I got nothing to prove to you. Call Brock Lesnar a little bitch. That's it. Brock the bitch. Do you think that chant will get over?
100%.
The bitch.
No. It's just Brock the bitch. Brock the bitch, just over and over again.
Oh, it'll work too. Yeah.
Would they? What's the stipulation? What do they do a stipulation this time? Is it a submission only match? Because that was how the last match ended. Was a pinfall coming off of a submission attempt.
Cody's definitely. Nah, you can do like passing out. Yeah, Brock puts him in the guillotine and Cody Brock ain't tapping. Kidding me? Brock ain't tapping to that figure.
That's fine. We're all expecting this to go 1-1. You can't have Cody go 3-0 on Brock Lesnar a la Seth Rollins, can you?
No, that's not adversity. Because then you're not showing any adversity. Cody's got to lose one of these matches. So
I agree. Yes, he does.
We assume. Do a submission match. He gets choked out. He passes out, so he doesn't tap out. He should bleed. Can they bleed in Saudi Arabia? Is that a thing?
Of course. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can do it.
All right. So he should bleed. He gets choked out in the guillotine. If you lose blood, the guillotine made it a lot worse. And then, Cody just passes out. And then Brock licks his gloves with Cody's blood like he's BJ Penn and shit. It'd be great.
What if it's both? What if it is a first blood match and Brock wins and then he chokes out Cody anyway with the guillotine?
No, don't do first blood matches. I don't like those.
Too much room for error.
Room for error, and I just think they're kind of dumb, honestly.
That's fair.
I just think if you want to make someone bleed, just make them bleed in the match. Like, I'm going to draw the first blood on you. I just think they're kind of stupid.
Bully and Tommy Dreamer did that at Impact Sacrifice. And I agree, it was not a good match, and it ended exactly the way you expected, where the heel Bully Ray in this case is busted open first, but instead he puts the towel on his head so the referee doesn't see it. Meanwhile, there's distraction in the ring. Dreamer gets pummeled by the distractor, yada yada. He's bleeding. Referee sees Dreamer first, even though Bully's mopped up the blood. That happens too much in the first blood matches. So I agree, it's not the right choice. But because Brock bled in the first match, and because Brock was like essentially on his promo, he was like, "You made me bleed my own blood. You're gonna pay. Then we're gonna do this again," and that's how you do first blood.
You just make them bleed in the match,
right?
I like the idea of a submission match. By the way, I do like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it like that, because also Cody doesn't have a traditional submission that he uses. We haven't seen, well, yeah, but he doesn't win matches with it in most cases. So right. This would be one, just like they this is the worst part. Going back to the John Cena 10 years ago story that we keep saying this is exactly the same. They did this with John Cena too, where they were like, I forgot who he was against, but it was a submission match. This is where he introduced the STFU. Was that they were like, John Cena doesn't have a submission. OMG, what's he gonna do? And then that's when he introduced the STFU. So they might do that with Cody, and then Cody has to use presumably the figure 4 or some sort of submission that he's been working on or wants to start using. And what did Dream ever use a submission of any kind that you can think of?
I can't think of one.
Me neither. Maybe someone in the chat knows, but there's a story there, because again, Cody doesn't traditionally use it, but Brock very much comes from the most decorated combat sports artists, whatever they want to call them. Therefore, he has submissions for days. So I could see them doing a submission match. Brock would have to make the challenge though, or if Cody makes it, then people are going to be like, "Are you stupid?" And Cody will be like, "No," but also yes, stupid like a fox.
Yeah, Cody fire up. Everyone loves when Cody fires up and kind of makes that own challenge of like, "Oh, you don't think I hold a legit victory over you because I just pinned you off of the Kimura? I'm going to prove that I am just as legit as you are." Cody's got amateur wrestling background. Like, I didn't achieve the success that Brock did, but like, I'm prove that I'm just legit as you. Like, submission match. And then of course Brock laughs at him. He's like, "You're fucking dumb." Like, yeah, of course I accept that. Like, now I'm really going to murder you. So people like that at Cody, when he kind of just talks himself into a disadvantageous position, and comes out stronger. But sometimes your mouth gets you in trouble, and that's the adversity, Joel Pearl. And so that's maybe the adversity he needs to go through, because then he can do the promo of like, "Talked a big game and I lost again, and I'm just a big old loser."
I mean, it works. And then they do it again at Money in the Bank, and it's one more time, this time Hell in a Cell or whatever they're doing. We'll see what happens tonight with Cody and Brock. And then Becky Lynch is going to address Trish Stratus. We still have to get this match all the way to SummerSlam if the reports are true. This is, I guess, step 1. Do we do a tag match at Night of Champions?
Who's Trish's partner?
I don't know. That's Bailey. But Bailey's on SmackDown. There's no right answer unless I'm gonna hold on. Where is
Tiffany Stratton? Call her up.
Emma.
Call her up. Emma. Trish needs to just come out. She's like, "You know what? You guys are all focused on Lita. Oh, I'm gonna unite with what?
To get Piper Niven.
Sure.
Trish can be like, "This is my heavy. This is Piper Niven. She's gonna beat your asses."
That's fine. My point was of Lita wants to boost Becky Lynch. What does Becky Lynch need the boost for? She's already Becky Lynch. Like, I'm actually here to help the younger generation. I'm actually here to help people who respect me the way and the roads that I paved for them. And it's Tiffany Stratton.
I feel like Tiffany's a little busy right now.
Doing what?
She's currently trying to win the NXT Women's Championship at Battleground, which is the night after Night of Champions.
Well, maybe she doesn't win that match. Maybe she doesn't win that tournament.
Anyway, Becky Lynch addresses Trish tonight. Trish, who, by the way, now has a "Thank You, Trish" t-shirt in the style of the "I Am the Man." And I don't hate it. I think it's funny.
You should buy one.
I'm probably not going to buy one. The wrestling merch that I have is currently sitting in a drawer, and I almost never wear it anymore.
Buy one.
You buy one.
I'm trying to get sent a shirt from a different company, and they still won't do that for me.
Well, then clearly you need the other company to send you a shirt that you want and be like, look what they did for me. And they'll be like, that's nice. Watch AEW Rampage on Fridays.
Yeah, Tiffany Stratton did say she want to stay in NXT. Well, listen, maybe she should go. She should go to Saudi and win that match. She should pin Lita, and then get her back in time to win the NXT Women's Championship. What a weekend for Tiffany Stratton.
Something like that. I don't think that's going to be. I really do. Looking at the roster, Piper Niven is the one that I would probably do, unless Ronda Rousey's ready and they do Trish and Ronda.
That would rule. Absolutely. You know, Natalya actually would have been like a halfway decent spot for here of like Canadian unity and everything.
And some crossover as well in terms of time on the roster. There's a little bit of crossover there. I would have done that, sure. But yeah, it feels like Becky and Lita will get back together for one more match at Night of Champions. Or Lita's going to come out and avenge herself for being taken out by Trish before the women's title match.
Trish and Lita in Saudi?
Title. Yeah, I would do Trish and Lita in Saudi. We talked about that before. Trish hasn't done a Saudi match. Lita has, but then you just have people in their corner, and that's maybe when you introduce Piper as the secondary for Trish.
You're very sold on Piper Niven.
I'm just looking at what she's up to and who's on the roster, and there's nobody else. There's nobody else that makes sense, and Piper could really use something to do.
I mean, I'm with you. I don't even know if they're going in this direction. It might not even be like a person in the corner. It might just be Trish and Lita because it's Trish and Lita. I don't know. Sure. It does feel like if they're gonna extend this program to SummerSlam, they got to throw some type of obstacle at Becky Lynch. Now, does that mean it's Piper Niven in a permanent role for Trish Stratus? I don't know. Maybe it's just, hey, here's Piper Niven. She just gets beat one week. And that's the end of that relationship. So it could be something like that. But yeah, give Piper Niven something to do. I'm fine with that.
Gunther's back this week, the Intercontinental Champion. As last week, Vinci and Kaiser were walking around saying the Ring General is coming, and everyone's like, the what? What did he?
One if by sea, two if by land.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Anyway. Gunther's back. Who does he?
The British are coming. That's the joke.
The British are coming. Okay, well, Canadian. We're not British. Put the Queen, the King now on our money, so I guess it's the same. Who is going to be Gunther's first challenger for the Intercontinental Championship? Actual challenger, not just he's going to show up tonight and Riddick Moss is going to lose the match.
Is the match? I know the Rumble is tonight. Like, did they get the win, or did they get the match tonight, or did they get the match like next week?
I didn't even realize that they were doing a Rumble because nothing is on the WWE Raw preview.
Oh, well, you should read Fightful.com, where I had to write this article of what's on Raw, and they're doing a battle royal. Sorry, not a Rumble. They're doing a battle royal to determine the first challenger for Gunther and the Intercontinental title.
Oh, then it is Riddick Moss, and Riddick Moss is going to lose at Night of Champions to Gunther. I'm sorry.
Here's who it is, Joe Pro.
Let's hear it.
Drew McIntyre.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Why?
Because again, we're still on the Drew is going to turn heel boat. I am.
Yeah, you are.
Wouldn't you?
Probably, but I don't know when they're going to do it. Like, you can still do it. You can lose the Gunther again at Night of Champions, and then freshen him up by having a heel turn. And then it's like, those losses don't matter. He turned heel.
Have we done Shinsuke versus Gunther? We have done Shinsuke versus Gunther.
Yeah, it feels like a while ago, but
yeah, I'm going to just look that up real quick. But I know they've done it. There's no one else that makes sense here.
Johnny Gargano.
Gargano does, only because you're trying to redo the way. And if Ciampa's coming back, then you do Ciampa, Gargano, and Loomis against Imperium. And you have a 6-man tag built out of that. Unfortunately,
I don't care about it.
It's very confusing, though, because you look at if you're watching for the first time and you're like, Gunther is standing tall, the big guy with the Intercontinental Championship, and then you see the way, or at least Ciampa, Gargano, and Loomis, you're going to assume Loomis is the one going for the title because he is the tallest of the three.
They don't care. They don't care about any of that. The whole point of Gargano is Gargano wins the Battle Royal, and then what do you get out of it, Joel? I don't care about this storytelling, Imperium way, DIY. I don't care about that. What do you get out of Johnny Gargano winning the Battle Royal? The only thing people care about nowadays, Joel Pearl, banger matches. That's it. You get a banger match between Gargano and Gunther.
I mean, I'd enjoy it. And SB3 in the chat saying that it was Gunther and Gargano at a house show.
There you go.
By the way, Nakamura and Gunther happened. Oh my God, this was February, or not February. Was it? What month is this?
Why can't you tell months?
Because they're doing it the different way than us. They do it the.
Yes, I know how they do it. You are clearly not someone who uses cage match like every single hour.
I don't use it every hour. Anyway, it was August 2022. August 2022 was Gunther and Nakamura. But yeah, that's so you can refresh that for sure.
Yeah.
But it does feel like it'll be Gargano, and then they'll do the 6-man tag, and they'll have the Way versus Imperium. It's NXT, baby. We're back.
Banger matches. That's all anyone cares about nowadays.
Come and bang on us.
I'm with Big E. Come bang on this wet ass pussy. I'm with Big E. I just want big meaty men slapping the meat. That's what we want. We don't need these bump your 5-star matches. Whap. Whap, 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 whap.
Anyway, Wednesday we're going to talk about numbers. We're going to talk about AEW's new deal. Hopefully Andrew Zarian will be with us. And then Friday we'll have a lot to talk about AEW. I'm sure of it as we start getting closer to Double or Nothing. But Wednesday's going to be a fun show. So come and join us again. Jeremy Lambert, let's get on out of here. Plug your stuff.
Don't follow me on Twitter. Follow Steven Jensen on Twitter at FightTalk_. Watch all the stuff we have going on Fightful Overbooked. Big, I will plug this. I don't like plugging a lot of stuff. FMC tomorrow is going to be amazing. 8:30 a.m. This channel right here. Fightful Overbooked. We don't talk wrestling. If you like the NBA, it's myself. It's SP3. We're talking basketball. We got a lot of fun basketball stuff to talk about. Lakers are in the conference finals. They're facing the Nuggets, who I picked to win the title. Joel Embiid choked again. We got the Knicks slander. We got the Kevin Durant slander. It's gonna be a great episode tomorrow of FMC. 8:30 Fightful Overbooked.
There we go. There's some great stuff. There's some great stuff on Overbooked this week. So come and check it out. Come and watch us. We'll be back again on, what day is it? On Wednesday, 10 a.m. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. I am not going to plug anything because it's all on my socials. So ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.